Hey guys, wow, what a fight! What a fight, huh? Um, I think everyone in this fight won, except for Tyson Fury. I think he's kind of the only one that I don't want to say he got a raw deal, but Deontay Wilder didn't lose his belt. He didn't lose his undefeated record, and he got the knockdowns he needed to say that he's still a threat at the heavyweight level. The fans, the Tyson Fury fans got what they wanted. A great performance out of Tyson Fury. Fantastic boxing, I don't want to say exhibition, but performance. The Deontay Wilder fans got what they wanted. They got to see kind of a come from behind, not victory, but knockdowns, in the crunch time, 12th round, where when you need it the most in the reporters all get what they want too. Controversy, something to talk about, not just this guy wins in unspectacular fashion. This guy wins as expected by knockout. They get something to write about, Tyson Fury is kind of the only one that doesn't get what he wanted. Not only is this performance not going to get him a fight against Anthony Joshua, but it also didn't get him the WBC belt and the opportunity for mandatory big fights, or to pick and choose his fights either. So, as far as like scorecards and stuff go, I didn't really score the fight. I had a long day, and I can't find the fight at the moment, so I can't rewatch it, but I kind of fell asleep during rounds 5 and 6. I had been drinking a little bit, and it's just been a long day, but so I'm guilty. I even missed the Alexander Vostok fight versus Stevenson, which I'll be doing a video on after I have that fight, and I haven't watched it yet, but I didn't know that it was going to be on so much earlier than this fight. But anyway, I think that the fight was a little closer than a lot of people thought. I think that Fury was getting credit for the fight looking like a Fury fight and not necessarily punches landed. And I don't know what the CompuBox stats were, but I saw a lot of times where Wilder was making Fury pay for throwing his jab. He was countering the jab. He was landing, in the first couple rounds, right hands to the body, which I think he should have gone to the body much, much, much more. I think that he was countering with Fury's jab with his own jab pretty well. I think the only problem was for Wilder is that he went with nearly a strictly reactive game plan, in which he kind of wasn't doing a lot of feinting. He wasn't doing a lot of probing. He didn't have a really active guard like I expected him to, like he usually does. And that might also be because of, and someone called it in the comments, Fury's power. I don't think Fury rated his power as well as he did when he would catch Wilder. I think Wilder held his composure when he got hit, but I think he was rocked. I think he got rocked a few times in the fight. And then realized, oh, I gotta kind of chill for a minute. But there were a few stretches of rounds where Fury just ran away with it. Particularly, I think the third or the fourth round, I remember Paulie Malignaggi, who was kind of annoying in this fight. I think people in the stream that I was watching were saying it too. Wilder, or Fury, was landing a lot of right hands. He just started kind of picking them off and just catching him. And it was really fascinating that Wilder wasn't countering them. And he was there to be hit. I don't think he was expecting Fury to be throwing right hands. I think his whole game plan revolved around fighting off of Fury's jab, and I think that put him in a reactive mind state, or a reactive mindset where he wasn't being as proactive. And if I had film and I could go back and watch it, just from what I remember, he was almost always committing to his right hand. And if you notice the first, 8-9 rounds before he got the first knockdown, they were criticizing him for throwing like quote-unquote looping right hands, but they weren't. They were straight right hands. They were great technique. Everything was great. That was one of the things that bothered me about Paulie Malignaggi's commenting. He's like, see, that one's a straight right hand. That's a good technique. That was a... And that's not even why he landed it. And if I had the film study to show you guys, it would be fantastic. But if you guys ever find film where you can go back and watch it, if you feint or you throw your jab and you know your opponent, and you throw your right hand, but your opponent knows you're throwing the right hand, all you have to do is move your head anywhere, right? And they're going to throw the punch where your head is at the moment. But Fury had the same defense every time to duck to the right, duck to the right, duck to the right. And sometimes Wilder was getting kind of wide with his shots, trying to go over the shoulder, you know. But the problem with that is that when you duck down and you put all your weight on the right, you create so much more distance because your head is no longer centered. It's over your right leg, very similar to what Mayweather used to do, and why everyone thought when they fought Mayweather they were just going to be able to, I'll just catch him with the overhand right. But they never could because they misjudged the distance. However, when you see the knockdown, when he catches him with that straight right, that really good one that everyone was saying, oh, it was behind the head, it was behind the ear, it was whatever. Wilder didn't aim there. Tyson Fury moved his head there, you know, and that's just going to happen, you know. It wasn't like an intentional thing. Wilder didn't come, you know, from... Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. No vilifying Wilder for that shot. But he threw the punch where he knew Fury was going to move his head, because Fury had kept moving his head there, kept moving his head there, kept moving his head there. So all he had to do was feint him and get him to put his head where he was going to put his head defensively, and he wound up catching him with a brilliant shot. I thought it was fantastic. And then the same with the one in the 12th round. And when I saw Fury hit the ground, I just yelled, I think he killed him! It was such a fantastic shot, like that 2-3 that he caught him with. And he finally started to get into a rhythm. But aside from those knockdowns and stuff, I thought Fury's performance was fantastic. I thought he was fantastic. I thought the fight was closer than a lot of people think. And I definitely want to go back and rewatch it before I say who won how many rounds. But in order for it to be a draw, Wilder had to win 3 out of 10 rounds that didn't have knockdowns in them. Only 3 in order for it to be a draw. That means that Fury could win 7 out of 12 rounds and get knocked down twice and still get a draw. And a lot of people kind of think that, you know, maybe that's a raw deal. You know, you win 7 of the 12 rounds and you get a draw. Or the fact that Fury was likely winning the rounds before he got knocked down, right? And you have all that data, but then boom, you get knocked down, you get hit by the hardest punch in the round, you get dropped, you lose a point for getting dropped, and you very likely lose the round because you got hit with the harder shots. Now, there's a case actually in the 12th round that Fury may have still won the 12th round, you know, in spite of the fact that he got dropped, because he came back to hurt Wilder too, and he won the round all the way up until he got dropped, and then he won the round all the way to the end of the round after he got hurt and knocked down, right? So he could lose the point for getting dropped and still win the round. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that, you know, judges kind of shortcut their job and don't really think about that. But in the boxing public, right, you're going to see that Fury was winning most of the rounds. Fury was winning the times before he got dropped, and then even in the 12th round after he got dropped. And they're going to say, wow, he had so much control, he had so much of this, he had so much of that. And then they're going to say that that he got robbed, you know. But if, you know, and I would give the 12th, I don't know. I have to go back and rewatch it to see who I would actually give the 12th round to, in spite of the fact of the knockdown, because the knockdown just means you lose a point. Doesn't mean that you win the round. But if you give Wilder both rounds that he knocked Fury down in, which 99.9% of all people would, again, shortcutting your job or whatever, then Wilder only has to win 3 out of the 10 following rounds or previous rounds to get a draw, you know. And what if he won 4? What if he won 4 of those rounds and Fury won 6? Then that puts him 2 points ahead, you know. And I think the fight was close enough in some of the spots that you could give Wilder some of those rounds. If you pay attention, you don't just assume that Fury is winning the rounds because Wilder isn't knocking him out, you know. So I think that there's a case for a draw, and I'm not super upset about it. Not as upset as I was about like Golovkin Canelo won. Like, what the heck was that? What the heck? Yeah. But anyway, it was a fantastic performance from both fighters, and to be honest, in spite of the fact that I fell asleep in 2 of the rounds after 2 of my micheladas and Tecate brand, by the way. Thank you, Tecate Ring Girls, for always making me think of your titties. When I see Tecate, I just gotta buy them. But yeah, it was a great fight, and I would love to see it again. And you know, it's really hard to give Tyson Fury like a lot of credit for what he did, you know, without film to show you guys, because it sounds kind of silly, you know. Oh, remember all the times when he wasn't punching and he's just moving his head and he's shuffling his arms with his active guard? That was great, you know. It sounds kind of stupid without film. But I think that Wilder, with his semi-reactive game plan, was kind of fainted into oblivion. He was kind of a little bit lost. It was hard for him to know when Fury was going to punch. And there were some really interesting times in which he was able to pick up on Fury's timings and counter Fury's jab and start taking it away. If you notice, the fight, you know, kind of had a slow pace at times, and I think those were the times where Wilder had the best timing on Fury. But anyway, it was a great fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know, make sure to have an objective opinion about how you scored it. You know I fanboyed a little bit in my prediction, picking Wilder by knockout. I was really close. You know, I knew that he was going to catch Fury. I think in the rematch, oh man, it's so hard to say who's going to do better in the rematch, because I think that Fury, well, he's never had a rematch before, I don't think. And Wilder has had one rematch, and he went from a 12-round unanimous decision to first-round knockout. But I think that, oh man, I don't know who I would say I would favor in the rematch. I think probably Wilder, because I think Wilder was the one that was farthest away from who he normally is in the fight. And I would still pick him to beat Fury in the rematch, even though this was a really, really close fight. And he didn't necessarily get a draw. He didn't necessarily lose. But again, I didn't score it. I was just expecting eventually Wilder to turn it on and catch him. And also, I had been drinking and having a good time in other ways. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Be objective if you think about some of the things that I said. And then let me know what you think, what your initial impressions were. If you think after a little bit of review that it could have been a draw. And in particular, if you guys actually have scorecards, share your scorecards. And look for scorecards in the comments that reflect your scorecards, and thumb those up just so I can see how many people had similar scorecards and such. And I'll kind of think about it. And also, do you guys think that Wilder deserved to win the 12th round after knocking him down, in spite of the fact that he got hurt and lost the rest of the round, and presumably lost the first half of the round before the knockdown as well, which is very interesting. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Fantastic performance from Tyson Fury. Fantastic performance from, pretty good performance from Deontay Wilder. And I think that I favor Deontay Wilder in the rematch. I think that he'll be a lot better than he was in this fight when he kind of gets back in there. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thanks, guys. Bye.